If you've ever experienced something truly terrifying on Halloween, drop your story in the comments below. Share this with someone who still thinks Halloween is just for fun, because sometimes the scariest masks don't come off. And tell us where you're watching from. Fear Begins is reaching horror fans all around the world. Your nightmares are not alone. Tonight, you'll hear the story of a Halloween night that started like any other. But 5 teenagers entered the hollow. Only 4 came back, and none of them were ever the same again. Halloween night in the small town of Red Brook, Pennsylvania, always carried a certain charm. Every porch was dressed in flickering pumpkins, skeletons danced in yards, and the air carried that crisp, smoky scent of autumn. But this year, the atmosphere felt heavier. 17-year-old Jamie Carter stood on the edge of the neighborhood cul-de-sac, zipping up his hoodie as the wind picked up. Behind him, his best friend Dylan adjusted the straps on his backpack, which was clinking with a few bottles of stolen vodka and Halloween candy. "Remind me again why we're going into Black Hollow tonight?" Dylan asked, trying to sound nonchalant. "Because," Jamie said, grinning. "It's tradition, no urban legend," said Sarah, the no-nonsense member of their group, as she stepped out of her dad's old Ford. "A really stupid one." Kara and Miles arrived next, laughing and tossing popcorn at each other. All 5 teens had grown up in Red Brook, and all 5 had heard the same whispered tale about Black Hollow. On Halloween night, the veil is thin, and if you walk the Hollow's loop after midnight, you might not walk back out. Of course, no one ever knew anyone who actually vanished. It was one of those stories that got passed around in gym class or muttered at sleepovers, usually by someone's older brother trying to scare the younger kids. But Jamie had always believed there was something real about it. He felt it in his bones. Tonight, they made a pact. Enter the hollow at 11:59 p.m., walk the old logging trail loop, come back out before sunrise. No phones, no flashlights, just lanterns and guts. "One lap around the hollow," Jamie said. "We make it back. We prove the legends are fake." The others exchanged nervous glances, then nodded. The pact was sealed. They stepped into the trees. The entrance to Black Hollow was unmarked, but every Red Brook kid knew where it was. Past the overgrown cornfield, beyond the rusted-out tractor, just past where the ground started to dip. A cold silence blanketed the hollow, even with 5 voices trying to cut through it. There were no birds, no crickets, not even the rustling of small animals, only wind and whispers. Miles was the first to hear them. "Shh," he said, halting the group. "You hear that?" They all stopped. For a moment, nothing. Then, "Turn back. Wrong path. He's waiting." The whispers seemed to slither through the leaves themselves. "Nope," said Kara, turning to go. "We've made it 10 minutes in. We proved our point. Let's go." But Jamie stepped forward. His lantern flickered. "We finish what we started." Miles stayed behind with Kara. Jamie, Dylan, and Sarah pressed deeper into the hollow. Something strange began happening with the trail. It twisted in directions it shouldn't. Jamie had walked the loop twice during daylight as a kid. It was less than a mile long, but now they'd been walking for 45 minutes, no sign of the exit, no return to the cornfield. And worst of all, when they tried to backtrack, the trail changed. "None of this is right," Dylan whispered. "This is like that Blair Witch movie." Then the screaming started. Kara's voice, from somewhere off trail, shrill, panicked. Sarah took off running before Jamie could stop her. Dylan chased after. Jamie hesitated and then followed. They ran in separate directions. Jamie crashed through brush and dead leaves until he reached a small clearing. There, beneath the moonlight, was Kara, or what looked like her. She stood unnaturally still, her head tilted, her eyes too wide, a smile carved too far into her cheeks. "Kara," Jamie said softly. She didn't move. He stepped closer, and the thing that wore her skin collapsed backward into the leaves like a puppet dropped from its strings. Hollow, empty, just skin. He screamed. Jamie ran blindly until he found Sarah again, hunched over Dylan, who was sobbing and muttering nonsense. His eyes were wide open but unblinking. "He saw something," Sarah said. "I can't get him to speak in sentences." They dragged Dylan until the trail opened into another clearing. This one centered around a massive, ancient tree with branches like claws. Nailed to the trunk was a sign. "One stays for the rest to leave." They stared. "No way," Jamie said. "This is a prank. Someone's messing with us." Then Dylan suddenly stood, pointed at the tree, and walked toward it. "No!" Sarah screamed, grabbing him. "You don't understand." Jamie tackled Dylan. The three collapsed into leaves and dirt. Then the whispers came again, louder now. "Choose. He waits." She offered. The toll. A branch snapped behind them, and then came the man. He stood over 7 feet tall. His limbs were too long, bent at wrong angles. His face was covered with an old, cracked porcelain mask. No mouth, just black holes for eyes. He didn't walk, he glided. Jamie stood frozen as the figure reached toward Sarah, but Dylan jumped forward. "Take me!" he screamed. The mask turned. The man nodded once. Somehow, hours later, Jamie and Sarah stumbled out of the woods. Miles was waiting near the cornfield, pale and shaking. Kara was gone. So was Dylan. They told the police. No one believed them. The official story was that Kara and Dylan ran off, got lost, maybe even eloped, but every Halloween since, Jamie hears the whispers in his dreams, and sometimes when he looks into a mirror, too long, he sees the porcelain mask, just watching, waiting for his turn to pay the toll. Not all Halloween legends are stories. Some are warnings. The hollow still stands in Redbrook, and every year, someone tries to walk the loop. Most come back, but one always stays. Lock your doors, stay in the light, and whatever you do, never make a pact on Halloween night, because fear